Hi guys, it's been a minute. Today is Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. Also, I'm whispering and it's kind of late and I don't want to disturb the other people in the house. So I'm going to try to keep this quick and quiet, but I did want to share some things before I found an excuse not to. So here we go. What a wild season it's been. I would say the last few years, but especially the last year and a half, have just been more like a roller coaster in the ocean when a tornado was hitting. That's what it's felt like. And at some point, I'm sure I'll go through and talk through some stuff, but we'll save that for another day. Today, I just want to talk about this thing of embarrassment and shame and being seen. I've been dealing, I would say, the last 6 months or so, maybe even 8 months or so, with this heavy thing of embarrassment. As I look back on it, it just sucks. I think that place of like being afraid that people are going to think less of you, or that they're going to, I don't know. Like for me, I don't want to be around anybody. I don't want to talk. I don't want to show up places. I wanted to either be like by myself or around people who didn't know some of what I was considering the embarrassing things that were going on in my life. And I recognized I had created distance between people who knew me well enough to know I was hurting and who knew what was going on in my personal life, because I was so embarrassed, and because I was not just embarrassed about what was happening, but I was embarrassed about how I was taking it and how I was processing it. And so it was like shame upon shame upon shame. I thought a lot about Adam and Eve and how shame was introduced when sin was introduced, and how this, what should be beautiful, right? It should be beautiful that my friends know me enough to see that I'm hurting and that they care. It made me pull back because I didn't know how to not be embarrassed, how to not feel small. And in this couple weeks, I've had the most honest conversations with him. They've been filled with anger and filled with questions, many tears, many sad moments. I'm grateful that he can handle all of that, and I don't have to be embarrassed in front of him. You know, like I can say, Lord, I'm having a hard time, and I'm making choices that I know are wrong because I'm having a hard time. And he's not like gonna co-sign those choices, but he knows, and he cares, and he can help me make better choices, and he can help me get to a better place. And he has been, and I'm really grateful for that. But I just have been kind of just sitting through and thinking about this place of embarrassment and versus like being seen and wanting to be seen. And again, I think a beautiful part of a loving relationship is you get to see me as my full self. No filter, nothing between us, and vice versa. I think my people I'm closest to, I would say that's true of. They've seen me angry, they've seen me frustrated, they've seen me sad, they've seen me curious, they've seen me disappointed, they've seen me ecstatic, but I don't feel like I have to show up a certain kind of way or impress them. I can just be me and be seen for my full self. I can be goofy, I can be quiet. I talk about my younger sister lived in the same city as me for a little bit. Shout out to you. And there were times she would come over and we would just be in the same room, but we could just be in each other's space. We could be seen and fully ourselves. She knew my real laugh versus my fake laugh. She knew when I was angry and hurt, even if I was smiling. But I was seen. I was fully seen in those moments, in that space, in that time. And I knew that not only was I seen, but I was accepted and loved. It wasn't like I was seen and I felt bad about it, right? I wasn't seen and embarrassed. I got to be seen and loved and wanted. And I really thank God, not just for my sister, but for that season where we lived together, because I think that was a beautiful display. Now I might cry. Ooh, sorry. I think that was a beautiful display of friendship and family and of really God's love, where I could, at the end of the day, let down everything, right? Like, just be fully me and know that the person I was fully me in front of loved me the same, with a depth and a sincerity that I couldn't miss, and I sometimes didn't understand. Ooh, but shoot. But that's really how it is with God, right? Like, and I think that place of, that's one thing sin robbed us of, is where we could have that relationship with God where He sees us fully, knows us completely, and there's no part of me that feels shamed or embarrassed or sad about that. Now sin enters the world and all that's broken, and in Jesus we can have a new existence, right? In Jesus we get to come before God and not be embarrassed, because He sees His Son when He looks at us. But we have to fight to remember that, and then to remember that in front of people. You know, if God sees me and loves me, I shouldn't let the way people see me, or even the fear of how they might see me, to be bigger than the way I know God sees me. I think God allowed me to walk through some things for many reasons. There are different times in my life where I've been embarrassed, right, for seasons, but I think this was the longest and the most painful, and it had the most residual, like, impact. And I'm still walking through it, if I'm honest. It's a fight. It's a choice to not wallow, to not let my emotions overtake me. But I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful that God is. I feel the weight of the shame and the embarrassment lifting. Right? Like, I feel lighter. I feel more relaxed. I feel more okay. You know, I read this quote earlier, somebody else, but they were saying that the joy I have, you don't know the private pain it took to get there. And I think that really resonated with me, because when I tell you guys, I thought I was gonna lose my mind. I really felt like I was losing it. I felt like my world was crashing all around me, and I was so confused at, like, I was asking so many questions, like, God, what did I do that you're allowing this? What happened? So many questions, so much frustration. I really thought I was gonna lose it, and I'm so grateful that God has brought me to a place where I can see He really is a present help in times of trouble, and He really is near the brokenhearted, and He really does care for us, and He really will help us. He really will help us. To bring it back to what I was saying, just, I think I'm grateful for many lessons in this time, but one of them is shaking off the temptation to be embarrassed or shamed, shaking off the weight of other people's opinions and responses, and their either receptivity or rejection, and the lie that those things are more significant than God's already enthusiastic and consistent acceptance of me. No, He is enthusiastically in pursuit of me, and I afford to let anybody else interaction with me weigh heavier on me than the truth of what God says about me and how He loves me and how He views me. And I was definitely guilty of doing that. I let other relationships dictate how I felt. All the time, God is like, but I love you, and I'm here. I didn't leave. I didn't consider you disposable. I care for you. I didn't consider you replaceable. Like, I'm here. I'm just really grateful. I apologize if this video seemed out of sorts. But again, if you've been here, you're no stranger to these kind of antics. I have so many questions for the Lord still. They're less angry. The questions are less angry. And more so like, okay, God, what's next? And I've been trying to be intentional to set my mind on, God, I can be excited about the life you have for me. I don't know what it's going to entail. I have a lot of questions, but he loves me and he's good and he has good plans for my life. So whatever it is, I know it's going to be good, whatever his plans for my life are, especially as I walk in obedience, as I learn to live like him, as I learn to put him first, to keep putting him first, to keep putting him first, to keep putting him first. I know it'll be good, even if I don't know how. I don't know what the good looks like. I gotta believe it. Thank you for listening if you stayed this long. While this channel is still about me processing my own life, the ultimate goal is that it does help to encourage other people to know that you're not alone if you're going through similar things in similar seasons, and to ultimately point to the Lord, because when I tell you he is the only way I'm making it through, yeah, I really wouldn't be able to get through with peace and with hope and with any semblance of joy if not with God. I would be bitter and angry all the time. I've had to talk to the Lord more about anger this year than ever before. When I tell you, I felt like a walking like rage ball. Like I felt like walking tornado. And to be able to be in a place of fighting for joy, finding peace, fighting for hope, and just really basking in God's love and trusting him, trusting that he's got me, trusting that no matter what comes, God is good and he loves me, and that is enough. And that's everything. And that's all I got. So it hopefully won't be 2 years between now and my next video, but we shall see. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.